Over 2,000 years ago, a man named Jesus walked the dusty roads of Galilee. He spoke of love, forgiveness, and a radically new way of living. His teachings, though simple, were profound. They challenged the established order and offered hope to the marginalized. Though his life was relatively short, Jesus of Nazareth left an indelible mark on human history. His message of love and compassion resonated with people from all walks of life. It sparked a movement that continues to inspire and challenge us today. Jesus' life and teachings are more than just ancient history. They offer a timeless message of hope, forgiveness, and the transformative power of love. His story invites us to examine our own lives and consider how we can embody these values in our own time. This is the story of Jesus, a man whose life and message continue to illuminate the path towards a more just and compassionate world. To understand Jesus' impact, we must first understand the world he was born into. It was a world teeming with activity, where the streets of Jerusalem bustled with merchants, traders, and Roman soldiers maintaining order. The air was thick with the sounds of haggling and the clatter of Roman armor. It was a time of great turmoil and uncertainty. The people of Judea lived under the shadow of the Roman Empire, an empire known for its vast military might and unyielding control. The Roman Empire, with its vast military might, ruled over Judea, Jesus' homeland. The presence of Roman soldiers was a constant reminder of the empire's dominance and the subjugation of the Jewish people. Jewish life centered around the temple in Jerusalem, a place of worship and sacrifice. The temple was not just a religious center, but also a symbol of Jewish identity and hope. It was here that the Jewish people gathered to pray, offer sacrifices, and seek solace in their faith. However, Roman rule brought with it heavy taxation and a sense of oppression. The burden of taxes weighed heavily on the people, leading to widespread resentment and hardship. The economic strain was felt by all, from the poorest peasants to the wealthiest merchants. The Jewish people yearned for a Messiah, a leader who would deliver them from Roman rule and usher in a new era of peace. This longing was deeply rooted in their religious beliefs and prophecies. They prayed for a savior who would restore their nation and bring justice to their land. It was into this world, marked by political unrest and spiritual longing, that Jesus was born. The land was rife with tension, and the people's hearts were filled with a desperate hope for change. They sought a beacon of light in the darkness of their circumstances. His humble beginnings, born in a stable in Bethlehem, belied the profound impact he would have on the world. The simplicity of his birth stood in stark contrast to the grandeur of the Roman Empire, yet it was this very humility that would become a cornerstone of his teachings. Despite the challenges of his time, Jesus dared to dream of a different world, a world transformed by love, justice, and compassion. His teachings resonated with those who were weary of the status quo and yearned for a new way of living. He spoke of a kingdom not of this world, where the last would be first and the meek would inherit the earth. His teachings offered a radical departure from the status quo and ignited a flicker of hope in the hearts of his followers. Jesus' message of love and forgiveness challenged the existing social and religious norms, inspiring a movement that would grow beyond the borders of Judea and change the course of history forever. Jesus' teachings were revolutionary. He preached a message of love that extended even to one's enemies. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, he urged his followers. Forgiveness was central to his message. He taught that holding on to anger and resentment only poisoned the heart. Instead, he advocated for forgiveness, even in the face of great injustice. This radical concept of forgiveness challenged the prevailing norms of retribution and revenge. Jesus often spoke in parables, simple stories with deeper meanings. The parable of the Good Samaritan, for example, illustrated the importance of compassion and helping those in need, regardless of social barriers. His teachings resonated with the common people, who were drawn to his message of hope and love. Through his words and actions, Jesus emphasized the importance of love, forgiveness, and compassion as the cornerstones of a meaningful life. His radical message challenged his followers to look beyond themselves and embrace a more expansive view of love. A voice for the voiceless, Jesus, and social justice. Throughout his life, Jesus was a beacon of hope and a powerful advocate for those who were marginalized and oppressed. His teachings and actions were revolutionary, challenging the status quo and offering a new vision of a just and compassionate society. Jesus championed the marginalized and spoke out against injustice. He reached out to those who were often ignored or shunned by society, offering them not just words of comfort, but tangible acts of kindness and support. His message was clear. Every person, regardless of their social status, deserved dignity and respect. He challenged the hypocrisy of the religious elite and the powerful. Jesus was unafraid to speak truth to power, confronting those who used their positions to exploit and oppress others. He called out the religious leaders of his time for their lack of genuine compassion and their focus on outward appearances rather than true righteousness. He reminded his followers that true piety lay not in outward displays of religious observance, but in acts of love and compassion towards the most vulnerable. He healed the sick, comforted the grieving, and dined with outcasts. These actions were not just symbolic, they were a direct challenge to the societal norms that marginalized these individuals. Jesus saw beyond social divisions and recognized the inherent dignity of every human being. He interacted with people from all walks of life, breaking down barriers of race, class, and gender. His encounter with the Samaritan woman at the well, for example, demonstrated his willingness to cross cultural boundaries and engage with those who were considered outsiders. His actions spoke volumes about the importance of social justice and his unwavering belief in the equality of all people. Jesus' teachings were not just theoretical, they were deeply practical, urging his followers to take concrete steps to address the injustices they saw around them. He emphasized that true faith was demonstrated through acts of kindness and justice. "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven," he proclaimed in his famous Sermon on the Mount. This sermon encapsulated many of his core teachings, offering a radical vision of a world where the last would be first and the meek would inherit the earth. It was a message of hope and empowerment for those who had been downtrodden and oppressed. These words offered hope to the downtrodden and challenged the social order that kept them oppressed. Jesus' message was revolutionary, calling for a complete transformation of society based on principles of justice, mercy, and love. He envisioned a world where everyone had enough, where the powerful used their influence for good, and where the vulnerable were protected and cared for. Jesus' life and teachings serve as a powerful reminder that faith should be a force for good in the world. His example challenges us to look beyond our own comfort and to see the needs of others. It calls us to action, to be agents of change in our communities, and to work tirelessly for a more just and compassionate world. He calls us to be advocates for justice, to stand up for the oppressed, and to extend a hand of compassion to those in need. In following Jesus' example, we are reminded that our faith is not just a private matter, but a call to engage with the world around us, to challenge injustice, and to work towards a society that reflects the values of love, equality, and justice that he so passionately taught and lived. A global faith, Christianity's impact on the world. Christianity, one of the world's major religions, has had a profound and lasting impact on the globe. Its influence can be seen in various aspects of society, culture, and history. Following Jesus' crucifixion, his disciples spread his teachings. They traveled far and wide, sharing the message of Jesus Christ with anyone who would listen. These early followers were dedicated to spreading the word of their teacher, despite the many challenges they faced. They shared stories of his miracles, his message of love, and his resurrection. These stories captivated audiences and inspired many to join the burgeoning Christian movement. The tales of Jesus healing the sick, feeding the hungry, and raising the dead were powerful testimonies to his divine nature. Despite facing persecution, the early Christians remained steadfast in their faith. They met in secret, often in homes or hidden locations, to worship and support one another. The Roman authorities saw this new faith as a threat, leading to widespread persecution and martyrdom. Gradually, Christianity spread throughout the Roman Empire and beyond. The message of Jesus resonated with people from all walks of life, from slaves to nobles. The faith's emphasis on love, forgiveness, and eternal life offered hope to many. It offered a message of hope and salvation that transcended cultural and social boundaries. Christianity's inclusive nature allowed it to adapt and integrate into various cultures, making it a truly global faith. The Roman Emperor Constantine's conversion to Christianity in the 4th century AD marked a turning point, transforming Christianity into a major world religion. His Edict of Milan in 313 AD granted religious tolerance to Christians, allowing the faith to flourish openly. Over the centuries, Christianity has had a profound impact on art, music, literature, and philosophy. The Renaissance, for example, saw a resurgence of Christian themes in art, with masterpieces depicting biblical scenes and figures. Christian hymns and compositions have enriched the world of music, while theological writings have influenced philosophical thought. It has inspired countless acts of charity, compassion, and social reform. From the establishment of orphanages and hospitals to the abolition of slavery, Christian teachings have motivated individuals to work towards a better world. From hospitals and universities to movements for social justice, the influence of Jesus' teachings can be seen throughout history. Many of the world's oldest and most prestigious educational institutions were founded by Christian organizations, emphasizing the importance of knowledge and moral development. While Christianity has faced its share of challenges and internal conflicts throughout history, its core message of love, forgiveness, and compassion continues to resonate with millions around the world. The faith has endured schisms, reformations, and debates, yet its foundational principles remain strong. Jesus' teachings continue to inspire individuals and communities to strive for a more just and compassionate world. Today, Christians around the globe engage in various forms of service, from feeding the hungry to advocating for human rights, embodying the timeless message of their faith. Power in humility. Jesus' influence on leadership. Jesus' leadership style was unconventional. He did not command armies or wield political power. Instead, he led by example, demonstrating humility, compassion, and a willingness to serve others. Whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant, he taught his disciples. This message challenged the traditional notions of power and leadership, emphasizing the importance of servant leadership. Jesus' example reminds us that true leadership is not about dominance or control, but about empowering others and working for the common good. It's about leading with love, humility, and a genuine desire to make a positive difference in the world. His message resonates with leaders across various fields, inspiring them to adopt a more compassionate and ethical approach to leadership. Jesus' life serves as a timeless example of the power of servant leadership and its ability to inspire positive change.